when I hit the road, I had just finished the van to a point where I could live in it. And I've been doing projects here and there on the side. If that's not for you, of course it's not for you. Everyone does things differently. But for me, I was like, I want to be able to get on the road and I want to be able to live and travel out of this van as soon as possible. To get to doing van life, it was a bit of a build-up. I was, I guess you can say, pretty high achieving all my life. And so I was running through all of my goals that I wanted in life really, really fast and really, really rapidly. I was, at the time, I believe, 23. I'm 25 now. Things were just going way too fast in my life, and then also I was just in a place where I was just feeling stuck, as well as just like I had no direction on where my life was going, and I just was not in a place where I wanted to be.
This is Patrick with New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel up here in Brooklyn, New York at Brooklyn Campervan's block party. Look at all the vans. Well, I just bumped into Mike, and Mike lives in his van full time. It's a DIY conversion, Ford Transit, so he's got the full height. He's gonna give us a tour inside and out, so join us.
Hey Patrick, nice to finally meet you. Let me tell you a little bit about my story and what we have here. So, as mentioned, I have a 2016 Ford Transit. It's the long wheelbase, 148 inches, high roof because it's the only one that I could fit in. I was really looking at the Ram ProMaster, the Mercedes Sprinter, and all these other vans, but honestly, this is the only one that I can stand up in. So for reference, I'm about 6'4", put shoes on, 6'5". I tell people I'm 6'5", but I'm 6'4". And honestly, after all the insulation, everything's done, this is the only one that I can stand up in. So without further ado, yeah, I'll tell you a little bit more about the van. So if you hop up here, also, side note, I didn't notice this step was as crazy as it was until I met like other people and had them try to come into the van, because I didn't notice it because I'm tall. Oops. So you come into the van. First, initial as you step in, this is like the most open area that I guess you could say I have. It's a little bit messy, to be completely honest, because I do live and travel out of this van full time. And I literally just got to New York at 7 o'clock this morning. It's probably like 3 p.m., so bear with me. And then if you look behind me, I used to have actually a shower set up. So a lot of people believe, and I would say it's a bit of a misconception, but a lot of people believe that you need to have a full-on bathroom, a full-size bathroom, a shower, a toilet, the whole nine. And for me personally, I was living in this van for about 3 to 4 months before I even looked at using the shower, even looked at using the toilet, because I used to have a composting toilet. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need this anymore. So I completely gutted the whole area. So for me, it's a bit of an eyesore, because as soon as you walk into the van, it's the first thing you see, but we live and we learn. It happens. It is what it is. And then also in terms of just closing off the cabin space towards my living space, whenever I'm in a city, I like to just use these curtains here. And very simple. Like I bought this rod, I think from the 99-cent store back when they used to still have them. And then these blackout curtains. And they do a really good job. And I also have like the insulated window shades, and I cover those up as well through that way if I'm going to be out somewhere that's not necessarily a city, because one of the biggest things that you don't want to do is let people know that you're living in a space if you're in a city, because if you leave and they're watching the van, hey, it is what it is. And yeah, so there's that. And so behind me here, this is like my little kitchenette. This is my little kitchen area. I have a 2-burner stove, a little flip-up side compartment area here where I just have a bunch of things. Like, as I mentioned, I live here, so like it's full of stuff. And I have like a little shelf here, just full of little things that I can use and need. Like this is the handle for one of the pots, because I have the like the clip-on handles for like your pots and pans. Up in here, my cabinets. So we have dishes and just like, oh, hold on, let me grab that fella right there. Had a cup wanting to take a slide. We have dishes and pots and pans. I have a full electric kettle. It pulls about 1,500 watts, so I have a 2,000 watt inverter, so it's right on the cusp of things. So if my fridge kicks on while my kettle is cooked, I think that's electric kettle, I don't remember the name, but if that kicks on when my fridge kicks on, we're in a little bit of trouble, and it shut off one time before. Up here, I just have snacks and just other little food things and knickknacks. Just like I mentioned, yeah, I live in this thing. Down below here, so this is more of my storage area. So I have 5-gallon water jug that I usually have filled. I didn't fill it because I've been drinking water super heavy. And drink your water, folks, because you need to stay healthy. Underneath there is a propane tank, and then I have my trash can. And then if you see behind this 5-gallon tank here, there's my water tank that comes through and through, so I can see my water levels. I went with excuse me. I went with a over-the-wheel well water tank, and it's about 30 gallons, so I have 30 gallons of fresh water on board. at all times. And then over here, we have just my mini fridge. So one of the things that I was running into while I was building the van out, because I was building it on a budget and I did build it on a pretty tight time scale. I built this van out in about 2 months, no prior knowledge, just for context. And I could not find a 12-volt fridge within any type of range of mine and within like an affordable price range. So I was like, you know what, let me just use a 120-volt mini fridge, like a regular mini fridge, and I could just plug it into my inverter. My inverter is on all the time, but I don't have an issue with that because I have about 400 watts of solar on the roof. So as long as there's sun, I'm fine. And even when there's not sun, it's not pulling much power. When it's on, it kicks on, it pulls initially some power, but other than that, like, its running draw is nothing. And so for our roof, I went with the, shiplap. So basically shiplap pre-primed. I went to paint them and I actually bought the wrong white paint. So if you look really closely, you can see the paint strokes. It is what it is. And then the walls, I just went with like a 1/4 inch thick plywood. And this bad boy here is my clothesline actually, because every now and then when I'm at the beach or if I just need to dry clothes, I just hang them there and it actually extends. So if I have like a little tree outside, I can just extend it to the tree that's outside. The floor is plywood covered with these vinyl tiles. They've been pretty good, but recently I've been noticing a few of them are shifting a little bit because of moving. And so on the next van that I do, because I look to doing another one, I might do LVP flooring, or I might just really look into doing some type of durable flooring solution. And then above us is the good and trusty Maxx fan. This fan right here has saved me in all types of situations and circumstances. It's kept the van cool, it's kept the wind blowing. And the funniest thing about it is, as you can tell, it's unfinished up here without the trim because I absolutely lost it. I was working on the van and the area was just a little bit chaotic in the van that I was as I was working. And so I thought I had it with me and I threw away a bunch of stuff, and I'm pretty sure I threw it away. And so I've been meaning to finish that. And as you can kind of see, we're still a work in progress in terms of the van, but yeah, I just forgot to finish that. And so on the bottom down here, you just basically have some of my things. So this is my bag with my laptops because I do have a remote job. As a profession, I'm a data analyst. So I live and travel out of the van as well as I work out of the van. So I have my laptops in there, so my personal and my work laptop. Blue Eddy sent me a power station, and thank you to Blue Eddy again for sending that power station out. I have a few pairs of shoes just because I needed them, I guess you could say. And then behind me is some more cabinetry. This cabinet here is just kind of like my maintenance cabinet. Like I have like my protein in here, just pills, lotion, just basically house stuff, you know what I mean? And then this big bad boy here catches everyone's eyes when they walk in. They're like, oh, you got a whole TV in here. And I'm like, you know, look, I play video games. I don't know about yourself, but I love playing video games. I love watching movies. And so this is about a 32-inch curved monitor. And it's done me justice. Like, it came from my apartment when I had my apartment, and I've been using it since. I don't use it too much now because I work a lot more from my bed or from, I guess you could say, the swivel seat, which we'll show you in a second. But yeah, and then underneath here is my storage area. So this is the part where things are gonna get real. You know how we all have our closets? You have your closet in your house. I have my storage area in my garage in my van. It is what it is. So if you open the curtains, you will see that I just have a bunch of storage space, right? And so with my storage space, I took full advantage and full use of that with and so it's like I have few bins. I used to have a full-size mountain bike down here as well as a Suron. Oh no, it wasn't a Suron, it was a Talaria electric bike. And so that's why the bed is also so high, but I just have a bunch of space down there. And I've been using everything as much as I can. And so my mattress is one of the most favorite talking points of the van, is because they're like, can you fit in your bed? And then also, like, is there enough space between the bed and the ceiling? Yes. If your back is long, then I'm sorry, because you're just like me, your head's on the roof. But it is what it is, because this mattress is about like 10, 11 inches thick. I had no idea that it was going to make that big of a difference when I was building my van out, because the bed platform was done before I put the mattress in, obviously. And so I was like, oh, I'm going to have plenty of space. I put the bed in, sat in the bed, and I'm neck crooked. And I'm like, oh, I can't fit in here. But I mean, I've been making it work. And honestly, I could cut it because it's just a regular foam mattress. But I don't see any reason why not. I sleep way too well in this van. And then behind me is my closet. For research purposes, we're gonna go ahead and keep that closed because things may have shifted while I was driving. And I can guarantee you if I open this, we might see a landslide or an avalanche of clothes. But it is what it is. And yeah, I have a full-size closet. So without further ado, let's hop around to the back side so I can show you guys some more of the van. All right, so out these two rear doors. Well, before we even get to that point, you kind of gotta wade over this bad boy. So this is my motorcycle carrier. As I mentioned, I do a lot of different things, and one of those is I used to ride and race motorcycles. Now I just kind of do it for fun. I ride bikes. I used to have a 2017 YZ450F, and it was a supermoto as well as like my dirt setup. If you know bikes, you know what I mean. And that's why I have a bike carrier, because I buy and sell motorcycles, or I just love to ride. And so that's why that's there. On the rear doors here, you'll see that I have these two RV style windows, which I actually just finished putting in maybe 5 days ago. And so I was still waiting on the seal to completely set. So that's why there's a couple little goobs every now and then. And it was raining on the way up here. So it got a little bit messy. But if you crack the doors open, excuse me, Patrick, I won't hit you. All right, so if you crack the doors open, you'll see the ugly side of the garage, right? Like, this is as raw as it gets and as real as it gets when it comes down to, like, I used as much of the space as I possibly could. This is my diesel tank for my diesel heater, which sits right here towards the rear door, because I personally wasn't too confident with having a diesel tank or a diesel heater in general, and I didn't want to blow myself up. So I was like, let's put it as close to the door as possible. Throughout the back there, you can see my electrical setup. Since this is my first time ever doing anything like this, I kept it as real and raw as possible, because I was like, if anything breaks, I want to be able to reach it. And sure enough, things have broken, and I was able to reach them very, very shortly. If you're doing any type of electrical wiring or any type of wiring yourself, definitely don't cut any corners. Don't try and be cheap, because you will face consequences. I have burnt wires, and I have almost burned this van down a few times, as well as electrocute myself. So take it easy and be careful. Behind me here, this is our water tank. So if I slide this out the way, you can see our 30-gallon over-the-wheel well water tank in there. It's tucked in along with our water pump, accumulator, and our water heater. So if I want to, I can have I think it's 2.5 gallons of hot water. It takes a little bit of power to use, so I don't really use the water heater too much, because who needs hot water? You know, it's a luxury. And then behind me right here is our outdoor shower. I've used it plenty of times now, and it's pretty great because it's just like a little bit of luxury. When you're in the middle of nowhere, or if you're in the city, you just put up a little curtain and you can shower. And so these windows do actually open and close. That's one of the features that I love about them. So they do add another layer of airflow, because one thing that I was noticing with having the van, especially with being in the South or with anywhere where it's high humidity, that there is not too much airflow, especially in the back of the van if you don't have any windows. So I added windows. I originally did not have windows, but that was one thing that I really just recently added. And so as a little bit of a tidbit and caveat, like, I've been living and traveling out this van for 1.5 years, and I just added those windows a couple days ago. So in terms of having a van, or in terms of doing a build, like, it doesn't necessarily need to be perfect as soon as you hit the road. Like, when I hit the road, I had just finished the van to a point where I could live in it. And I've been doing projects here and there on the side. If that's not for you, of course, it's not for you. Everyone does things differently. But for me, I was like, I want to be able to get on the road, and I want to be able to live and travel out of this van as soon as possible. And so the time to completion for this van was 2 months. I was doing that while I was working a full-time job, 8 hours a day. So I'd work 8 hours, then come back to the place that I was renting a room from, building my van on the sidewalk, not on the sidewalk, but like on the street corner, and work on my van for another 8 hours, rinse and repeat. Did it every single day for the next 2 months, and put a lot of time into it, put a lot of effort into it. And I learned a lot along the process and along the journey. And to get to doing van life, it was a bit of a build-up. I was, I guess you could say, pretty high achieving all my life. And so I was running through all of my goals that I wanted in life really, really fast and really, really rapidly. I was, at the time, I believe 23. I'm 25 now, 23, and I was 22. I hadn't even turned 23 yet. And I was in my career, graduated from university, about to pursue a master's degree, doing a whole bunch of things, and in this relationship, and in a relationship that I was considering as serious. And I was thinking that, like, you know, the last thing for me that I want to do in terms of my goals was become a husband and a father. So let's run to that. Like, I've been running through all these other goals. And love, and I guess you can say being a husband and a father is not something that you want to rush. So a little bit of advice there. But other than that, things were just going way too fast in my life. And then also I was just in a place where I was just feeling stuck, as well as just like I had no direction on where my life was going. And I just was not in a place where I wanted to be, or a place that was sustainable for me to be. And so long story short, I sold everything I owned. The relationship ended. I sold everything I owned. I moved out of the country. I moved to Colombia. And so I lived in Colombia with my sister for a while. And I spent some time over there. And then when I was ready to come back to the US, I was like, all right, let's do this. I want to live and travel from something, because I've seen some YouTube videos about van life. I see some stuff about RV life. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. So I came back to the States after a little bit of time. I bought a travel trailer, which I had for like a month. Didn't really even use it. And I was like, this isn't what I want to do. This is cheating. And also, like, I'm tired of hitching and unhitching. If you have a travel trailer, there's no shot at you. I'm sorry. But me personally, it wasn't for me. So I sold it and got on the road. Oh, no, I sold it, bought this van a month later off of Facebook Marketplace. And then I started building it right after that. Like maybe 2 days after building it, after buying it, I went straight to building it. And just as I mentioned, spent 2 months dedicated working on the van and just going and grinding. And so, like I'll say, like, you don't need to necessarily know where you're going, how you're gonna pay for it, how you're gonna figure it all out. Like for myself, for instance, to buy the van, just because I was in such a rush, I took out a personal loan, which not everyone would recommend. But I took out a personal loan, had a little bit of an interesting APR, but got the cash up front. So I have the title in hand for this van. Got the cash up front, used some of my savings, because shortly after getting into the van, I quit my job to travel. So I traveled full time for a full year last year. Last year I visited maybe 12 countries, as well as seeing like 15 states. I was just having a blast. So that's majority of the story. Like if you would like to hear more, I'll definitely plug some of my social media. My YouTube channel is Living Like Mike, and the like is spelled L-Y-K-E, and then Mike, all conjoined, all put together. Thank you again, Patrick, for coming out and, you know, giving me the chance to show you guys my beautiful home on wheels here. It's a beautiful day out here in Brooklyn. I might come out the sweater. It's a little warm now, but other than that, that's just about it.
I appreciate you taking the time. You were driving through here and you're like, what the heck's going on here?
Yeah.
It's like a car show.
Yeah, man, I was coming by. I was like, oh, wait a minute.
And you're like, oh, I'm parked all the way down the street. I was
Yeah.
like, bring that van back. We're
Yeah,
going to go do a tour.
Yeah.
And I appreciate you showing it the way it is, because this is real life for van life.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I could clean my van. I don't live in my van. I vacation in my van. But
Yeah.
I could clean it, soup to nuts, and
Yeah.
like 10 minutes later, you go to do something, it's destroyed.
Yeah, like,
So it's just real life.
This is as real and as raw as it gets, honestly. And like, I'm no carpenter, I'm no electrician, I'm no plumber. I did all of those myself. And it's just, again, like a reference that if I can do it, you can do it too. You know, don't feel discouraged. There's a lot of people that feel like, oh, I can't do my electrical work because I'm not an electrician. Neither am I. Like, there's resources all over the internet. There's people that do these things. And of course, there's different types of ways to learn how to do things. Trial and error. Like, don't be like me in terms of like trying to be cheap in certain areas. Definitely invest. But overall, like, came along.
I'll put links in the description so our viewers can click over. This is Patrick and New Jersey's Outdoor Adventures YouTube channel up here in Brooklyn at Brooklyn Camper Vans. Their block party. Whoa, a lot of vans here. We got the whole street filled.
Yeah.
I'll see you soon.
Yes, sir. All right, catch you.